Welcome to the Launch to Impact Leadership podcast. My name is Dr. Keena, a leadership development coach, author, and former nonprofit administrator. I teach emerging leaders how to master the skills needed to effectively engage their staff, strengthen teams, accelerate performance, and position themselves for long-term success. Now, before we get started, be sure to tap that follow button right now because practical leadership insights are waiting for you in every episode. Have you ever been in a situation where you were doing everything right, following the same plan that worked before, using the same tools, the same approach, and it just was not working anymore? That's not a failure. That is a signal. And today we're going to talk about what to do when you get that signal. Now, let me start by saying this happens to every leader, especially in seasons of rapid change or in situations where external entities are involved. It is very normal for things to all of a sudden just seem broken, that were going just fine. And here's the thing. I don't want you to think that as a leader, you need to be perfect. As a matter of fact, it's progress over perfection. That's what I tell my clients all the time. Progress over perfection. Leaders do not need to have all of the answers, but they do need to ask the right questions. When you're faced with technical problems, you can rest assured that technical problems have known solutions and can be solved with the right expertise. Now, technical problems are clearly defined issues that are solvable with existing knowledge, expertise, or procedures, even if that existing knowledge, expertise, or procedure is not something that's in place yet. There is someone somewhere that you can train, hire, or consult with that can get it done. However, when you have adaptive challenges that are more complex, ambiguous, and require new learning, new approaches, and sometimes a fundamental shift in how the leader or the team or the organization operates, you have to take a different approach. Most of the challenges you are facing right now are probably not technical. They are adaptive. Your staffing shortage is not just a hiring problem. Your team's disengagement is not just a morale problem. These are adaptive challenges that require you to adjust how you lead, not just what you do. So let me give you an example. When a funding source changes priorities, the technical response is to update your policies or restructure some of your plans. That is something that requires the right people sitting down together and figuring out what the next steps are. That comes from having the right knowledge, the right expertise, adjusting your procedures. That's technical. But the adaptive response to when a funding source changes their priorities is to ask whether the program will need to evolve or if the organization can shoulder this change. Both are valid, but only one leads to long-term sustainability. And I can't answer that for you. Only you and your organization have that answer. Now, if you want to have a sustainable organization, if you want to withstand the ebbs and flows of leadership, you need to be able to adjust your approach. Now, in my book, Launch to Impact, I talk expansively about adjusting your approach. But when you are too rigid, it stalls progress. But so does constant change, which means it's important for you to be intentional and informed about any adjustments you make. And I can't help but think of a friend that would say to me way back when, would say, there are two things that people hate: change and the way things are. Well, as a leader, you have to remember that adjusting your approach is necessary. And when you adjust your approach, your values still stay the same. It's your methods that need to adapt. Your expectations will likely stay the same, but it is road to those expectations that must be adjusted. Adaptive leadership requires navigating flexibility and structure simultaneously. It is being able to balance the best of both worlds. So here's a few things that you can consider when making your adjustments. First off, ask what has changed in my environment that makes my current approach less effective. Like, you got to get down to the root cause of what is going on and why something that was perfectly fine before is no longer doing the job. Ask yourself, what about my current approach is still sound and should be preserved? And you know what? I say ask yourself, but I use that term loosely. In this case, this could be and likely should be a team approach. The last thing you want to ask is what needs to change and what is one small experiment I can try this week. Now, adjustment doesn't have to be dramatic, and I can't stress that enough. Sometimes it is simply a conversation that you've been avoiding. Sometimes it's delegating something that you've been holding. Sometimes it's reassigning a task from one group to the other. Sometimes it's just admitting to your team that the current plan is not working and inviting them to be a part of the new solution. But research tells us that frontline leaders are 3 times more likely than executives to feel unprepared for change. Hey there, quick pause. If you've ever felt the pressure of leadership building, like everyone is looking to you for answers and you're trying to hold it all together, I want you to know it doesn't have to feel that way. On June 24th, 2026, I'm hosting the Launch to Impact Leadership Summit in Long Beach, California. And this experience is designed to help you lead with clarity, even when the pressure is high. We're going to walk through how to stay grounded, think clearly in the moment, navigate challenges without burnout, and lead your team in a way that builds trust and morale. So instead of reacting, you're responding with confidence. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel equipped. If that's the kind of leader you're ready to become, grab your ticket at www.launchtoimpact.org. Links are in the show note. Let's get back to it. Change is normal. Change is necessary. I want to make a change. I want to disrupt the fact that frontline leaders are feeling unprepared for change. If we only develop adaptability at the executive level, we fail the people who are serving our clients. And that is a problem. So in your next staff meeting, you want to start building the muscle with you and your team. Ask your team, what are some of the challenges that you're having? As I said before, and then you're going to start unpacking those things. Share even something that you are adjusting in your own leadership. The more that you model adjustments, the more you're going to normalize it for your team. Your team does not need to see perfection. They need to see progress. Invite the team to identify the one thing that's not working well as it could and brainstorm some alternatives together. Throw out all the ideas. Nothing is bad. And then let's start problem solving after all of the ideas are out. This is going to build collective adaptive capacity. That means everybody's going to be able to adapt and adjust together. I can't stress this enough. The leaders who thrive in uncertain times are not the ones who stick to the plan no matter what. That's just not realistic. It's not feasible. The leaders who thrive in uncertain times are the ones who know when to adjust the plan while keeping the mission intact. Modify your approach, maintain your expectations. So this week, I want you to identify one area of your leadership where the playbook is just not working anymore. Ask yourself the questions from today's episode and then try one small adjustment. Thank you for listening to the Launch to Impact Leadership podcast. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Now, if you're ready for tools, coaching, or community to accelerate your success, visit www.launchtoimpact.org. My name is Dr. Keena, and until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building momentum.